Okay.
Less so by Wolverine this time.
Did you?
Oddly.
Mm-hmm.
Did you almost want to say something to the jackholes that were laughing after every single almost joke?
Couldn't the right mind?
Oh my god!
I know, like some of the parts were funny, but then it's like, all right.
Yeah, there's a couple
I
times.
see the humor in it.
There's a couple times I laughed out loud.
Yeah, no, like almost like every single cut to black that went to a new scene, these assholes were like, like why are you laughing at that?
Probably because they got high before the movie.
Like,
really
Good.
I was so focused on the movie that I was
one of
like,
the things,
else out.
when Charles, in his broken down state, he's like, Logan, what are you doing with me? You are just leaving me here to die. Somber note.
Did they laugh?
These assholes were like,
That's hilarious.
So anyways, I hate people who do not know proper theater etiquette.
Well, that's kind of gone out the window since
I was gonna say proper etiquette in general is pretty
Yeah.
much a dying phase.
True.
especially since cell phones have come around.
But it's a theater.
like
Show some respect for the movie. And Laura was saying, I hate going to movies on opening night. It's opening weekend.
Opening weekend, I usually avoid.
And Nick Mason from Weekly Planet was complaining about Rogue One, how he hated K2SO, because there were a couple Alan Tudyk fans in the audience that were just like, oh my god, that's the funniest line ever. Every time he would have a zinger, because he has a lot of zingers.
Yep.
But he was like, it was just driving me insane every time he talked. It made me hate his character, like,
Oh, that's bad.
the second scene he was in. So I was so glad when he finally died. It's like, oh. Jeez,
Cheer out.
Meso.
Yes! Finally. That's funny.
We went to Logan this weekend. Not together. I mean, Kyle
two
came.
of you went together.
Well, three. We had Laura with us, too.
Yeah, I had to go solo.
Yeah.
My wife wasn't interested in going to an
Oh, yeah.
X-Men
That's
movie.
what I was going to ask. I was going to say, I wonder if you were going to bring her with or not. Because
She was going to come, but we were still doing housework and stuff, and she wanted to work on that. So,
so
I just went and got my popcorn and got my own pop and didn't have to share with anybody.
Nice.
So it worked
Do
out.
you go to movies alone often?
First time
First time. Okay.
that I can remember.
Okay. I used to go to movies all the time because I don't really have friends. Like, I had one friend in high school, basically. And Dan would always be, like, working or something, and I'd be at the movies.
Jobs.
Yeah, come on. It's summer. You're supposed to have fun
Yeah.
when you're 18.
Adulthood. What a drag.
It is. It is. So, yeah, Logan.
Not your grandma's X-Men movie.
No.
This is violent.
Yeah.
Yes, very
Surprisingly
violent.
so. And actually, I thought it could have been more violent. Like, I was getting geared up because I saw some early reviews saying, like, oh my god, this is the goriest thing you've ever seen. And I was like, it's actually less tame than, like, the Kill Bill fight scene at the end of Kill Bill Volume 1, where she chops all the guys up.
The crazy
that's,
88s?
yeah, that's comical. So this was, quote unquote, the term that everybody's throwing around, the most realistic X-Men movie. It's like, he's got metal skeleton and claws.
Doesn't stop with a 12-gauge shot to the chest.
Yeah.
Like, nothing. Realistic. You know.
Super realistic. They've got other mutants that... Anyways. So yeah, I liked the tone of the movie and all of the times that they kind of screwed with your expectations for going through. But we'll get into that. Spoilers for Logan. We're going to talk about most of it. We're not going to go through a step-by-step synopsis, though, because we're not that good at doing step-by-step synopsis. Actually, we're not going to start with that. We're going to start with talking about Deadpool and the Deadpool teaser that precedes it. That was cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Not your typical teaser trailer, but something to look forward to. There's a couple Easter eggs in that, and a weird, crazy fan theory that's out there. But Jordan, what do you think of? I know you haven't seen Deadpool yet.
No, yeah, so I wasn't.
That's the type of.
I was surprised that they put in him in the movie. Is he ever without the mask?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought he wore the mask the whole time, so I was surprised when I saw him without the mask.
Yeah. Deadpool's an origin story. And so, actually, quite a bit of the film, he's out of the costume.
Yeah, it's mostly backstory. Well, it's like backstory that he goes back to and talking about.
Yeah,
So.
because that movie is basically, it's almost like a Family Guy episode. Where they're like, hey, remember that time when something?
It's
And they
worse
go
than that
back.
time that crazy guy put me in an oxygen-free chamber and lit it on fire.
Yeah, and they would go back and show.
I need to see Deadpool.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of the bits of it? Any like trailers? Or
Yeah, we watched
I have a
the
copy for
opening
you
scene.
upstairs,
We
actually.
watched the opening scene of it one night.
Yeah, we watched like the first 10 minutes.
Was that him sitting on the freeway, or is it?
Yeah.
Does it,
Yeah,
it starts
we're-
with him in the cab, though, doesn't it?
No. Yeah, cab and then
I-
the freeway.
It's been a bit
And then
since I've seen it.
goes through the like screenshots or whatever, frozen
Oh,
shots.
yeah.
And then it shows you the
Of
actual
all the
fight scene
chaos
of
that
how it
happened.
happens.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good open.
That's about as far as I've seen.
Yeah, super slow-mo cam.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just like how it doesn't actually say any of the actors' names. It's like a pompous jackass.
Yeah.
And stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
An overpaid actor.
But yeah, so I mean, that was the first thing I noticed was him. I did find it funny that they did the whole phone booth thing in the year 2017 where
And it was the actual John Williams score from Superman.
I thought it was, but then I
Yeah.
was like, maybe they changed it just a bit, like Vanilla Ice taking over the Queen song.
yeah.
Yeah. Just had that little tss in there, or some little change,
Yeah.
but it sounded spot on.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And if you haven't seen the teaser, basically we have a hooded figure walking down the street, and they see a guy getting mugged. Takes his headphones off, throws it down his hood, and it's burnt to a crisp. Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, and he's like, "Not on my watch, motherfucker!" Runs to a phone booth. In the online version, Stan Lee says, "No, that's after he gets ready."
Yeah, I was gonna say it's
Yeah.
after the guy gets shot.
Runs into the phone booth.
Phone booth.
Phone book.
Runs into the phone booth, strips down, takes him an
A good like
insanely
minute and a
amount,
half, like
trying to get undressed and clothed again into the Deadpool.
As you hear the victim yelling in the background for help.
Yeah.
won't anybody in this place help me?
And then he finally he hears the gunshot, and it's too late. And it's typical Deadpool. He goes and he lays on the guy,
Eats his ice cream.
eats his Ben and Jerry's.
I mean, that guy's not going to need it anymore. So
That's what he said.
Yeah. Once again, he always references Wolverine.
Yeah.
If Wolverine were here, this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be dead.
what's he have to change into? He wears a tank top and jeans.
Perfect. And that's great because he's wearing a tank top and jeans for most of the
Yeah.
film.
I was gonna say it's
Well, I
I guess the
wouldn't
first
say
half he's got the
Yeah,
suit on as the
like the
It's
final,
like about the final
act.
third, yeah,
Yeah.
is what I would say.
So a couple things that popped up. The marquee that was blocked by the phone booth said Logan on it.
Yep.
But the
did
N was blocked out. And then the phone booth had some graffiti on it that said Nate Summers is coming. Nate Summers is Cable.
Oh, that's right. I was like, because I know Scott Summers and
Yep,
and
Scott Summers and Jean Grey.
Yep.
And their kid is Nate Summers.
They have a
who's-
kid?
Yeah.
Not in the movies?
No.
not yet. anyway.
In the comic book universe, he's a guy named Cable who is he's from the Days of Future Past timeline where Sentinels became powerful enough that they started hunting humans and mutants, and it's a very bad kind of machines taking over Terminator kind of
Oh, okay.
thing. And I want to say he's a bounty hunter.
I thought he was a cyborg. Doesn't he have like metal arms?
He has a metal arm. He has a really cool 90s bandolier like over one shoulder, and I know one eye is like golden.
He
I really
wasn't-
don't know much about Cable,
He
but
wasn't Days of Future Past, wasn't he?
no. Bishop was.
Bishop, that's who I'm.
Bishop
yeah.
is the
Yep, that's who I was thinking of.
hunter assassin guy that in the original one goes back to kill one of the X-Men.
Isn't it Professor X?
He thinks it's Gambit
Oh, okay.
in the cartoon version at least.
Oh, okay.
But I don't remember what they did in the comic book. So yeah, that was kind of two nice little nods. And then I heard a crazy fan theory that even though Fox doesn't own Spider-Man, because Sony and Marvel are kind of working that out with Spider-Man Homecoming,
Okay.
what if that was Uncle Ben?
I saw that too
Did
because
you?
of the Ben and Jerry's ice cream.
Yeah.
They thought that might be
I
a
didn't even-
reference.
That's hilarious. I
So
didn't even
he
think
got
about that.
killed because Deadpool didn't stop him, forcing Spider-Man to become Spider-Man.
Oh.
So, because he's a very fourth wall breaking character.
Yeah.
And
That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning, the old guy is like, I've been working for 40 years. I'm not just going to give you my stuff.
Right.
That sounds like something Uncle Ben might say. Yeah.
Something Uncle Ben would say. So, Uncle Ben with Ben and Jerry's, maybe he was the one who got gunned down.
Oh, man.
Which is just great. I like fan theories like that, even if they don't pan out. I do not like ones that are, Jar Jar Binks a Sith Lord. But, anyways, Star Wars.
Doesn't he become a Sith in the second one? Or no, he's like a senator.
Jar Jar Binks?
Yeah.
He's like an aide to
in Attack of the
Amidala.
Clones.
Yeah.
He's something.
Misa, useless aide that grants the Chancellor's powers to make an army.
Yeah.
He like
Misa,
was
oops.
I didn't know.
Like started Galactic Civil War.
Let me Google what is Brexit.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, we have some Logan stuff to talk about. We're introduced to Logan in a broken way. He's got a limp. He's not healing as well. And as we find out later in the film, his adamantium's actually killing him. He's getting poisoned by the toxicity in his body, and he can't heal.
So he thinks it's because the doctors the doctor was like, you need to go get checked out. He's
Right.
like, I'm pretty sure I know what's going on.
Yeah. So in the comic books, when he loses his adamantium from time to time, he heals almost instantaneously
Oh, really?
because the metal is actually slowing down his healing
Oh.
because his body's always healing, having metal grafted to
Having
his
some
body.
foreign substance in
Right.
it. Yeah.
Because
that makes sense.
it's not like stainless steel that they can put in you. It's this dirty, gross metal that's, can't be broken down. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I think James Mangold said it in an interview, the director. And he also did, the director of this did Wolverine.
the Wolverine.
The Wolverine.
Nice.
So yeah, it's a continuation of that.
Oh, sweet.
We're introduced to Caliban, who was in X-Men Apocalypse, who's played this time by Stephen Merchant. He's an albino tracker who can track down mutants.
What else is he in? Because he looked familiar.
He's in
but
the
I don't-
British version of The Office.
No, I've never seen that.
Let's see.
He
here.
plays the Dwight character, doesn't he, in that one?
No, he's one of the pirates from Pirates of the Caribbean who's got the fake eye.
Oh, okay.
That guy plays Dwight.
Gotcha.
He was in Hello Ladies on HBO, which is a really funny, it's kind of a self-deprecating comedy about him trying to find love in Hollywood.
Sounds about right.
You could go to his IMDb page. He's well known for being one of the first people to do the celebrity lip singing on Jimmy Fallon's show.
Maybe that's what I saw, man.
Before it got its own spin-off?
Yeah.
Ah. Pioneer.
Because all the stuff you named off, I've never seen.
Yeah. So he does have one of those faces. Dang
But
it.
so in Apocalypse, he's not an albino.
He is, but he's not played by the same actor.
Okay.
And in that, he's working. I don't remember who he's working for, but he's only in one scene,
Oh, okay.
and he's tracking down mutants.
That's probably why I didn't remember him.
Yeah, Stephen Merchant lip sync is the second hit. It's kind of funny. And then we get the saddest portrayal of Professor X that I've ever seen when we're first introduced to him, and he's basically freaking out like he's in a insane asylum. He's yelling everything that's coming in because he's basically just an open radar dish, and he's just pulling in all this information. He's just
I laughed really hard when he started going off about Taco Bell.
Yeah.
That was probably the hardest I laughed during the movie.
it was funny. It's also really sad to see him like that because he's been a father figure through many of these movies, many of these years. 17 years he's been playing.
And we never really find out, like they kind of reference it indirectly, but we never find out exactly why
Right.
he's in the situation
Basically,
he's in.
he has some form of degenerative brain condition that caused him, as we find out, this is actually kind of a major point, he killed most of the X-Men when he had a seizure.
Is that what he was referencing when he said
Oh,
he did
yeah.
something horrible?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But we never find out exactly what it was.
Right. So
So is that going to be
after the events in Las Vegas where he has
Oklahoma City?
Yeah, Oklahoma
Yes,
City.
yeah,
it looks like
'cause-
Vegas.
Yeah, because there was a casino.
Yeah,
there,
there's a
that's
casino.
Right. Yeah.
So he's having seizures. So Logan's keeping him medicated to stop the seizures and to stop the voices in his head. Seizures are bad because when he gets one, it freezes time in a radius around him, and it's not freezing time; it's freezing people. So
Basically causing everybody else to have seizures too.
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah.
but so bad that like they can't breathe.
Yeah.
And they
Well, I mean, that's
suffocate.
that's kind of what seizures are.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're the authority on this, not me.
I don't know.
Apparently.
I've never had a seizure thing.
So we find out after Oklahoma City on the radio.
Yep.
This is just like the Westminster.
Yep. I think that's what it was.
Westchester.
Westchester. There you go.
This is just like the Westchester incident from a year or two ago. A year ago, where 600 people were injured and 7 people died.
7 mutants. They say 7 mutants.
7 mutants.
Yeah.
Oh.
Members of the X, and they turned off.
Oh.
He turns off the radio then. There's basically 9 X-Men. They killed 7. Or maybe there's 8. If you don't include... Okay, so Wolverine, Jean Grey,
Beast.
Cyclops, Beast, Rogue,
Storm.
Did I say Cyclops already?
Have we said Cyclops?
I thought Cyclops was in there already. I could be wrong.
Anyways. So basically they all died except for maybe one. Maybe one wasn't there. Maybe someone else died along the way. So we find out that he's the reason they died because he had a seizure and couldn't control himself. And Wolverine's the only one who can heal from that because he can, clomp around and he's able to push through having his body be frozen in place, basically.
Maybe he's just used to it. Like he's having been around it before, he was more acclimated to it.
That could be.
I don't know. Yeah.
Because it was like when it happens in Oklahoma City, he's having to like claw it into the wall to like pull himself along. So yeah, it takes a toll on him. And yeah, so we see Logan basically medicating with alcohol and pain pills. And God, even from that first scene where those guys are jacking his tires.
Yeah.
And
he's already in rough shape.
Yeah, he's already in rough shape. And he kind of gets his ass kicked.
Yeah.
Well, you could see he's like, he didn't want to have to hurt those guys.
Right, but I mean, even after, he gets shot in the chest or whatever, and they come over and they beat him up a little bit. I was like, oh man, he looks vulnerable like we've never seen him before.
Yeah.
This is going to be interesting to go throughout the movie and see, what it actually is going to end up looking like.
And that's the opening scene, so it really sets the tone for the movie, or at least Logan in the movie.
And why are we thinking it got to this point so... we end up it's 2029.
Yep.
Yeah, 2029. And I think I originally said it was 2026.
I thought you said 24 even.
2024? Yeah, so 2029.
The car was a 24.
So
Car was a 24.
When was the last X-Men movie supposed... Well, although didn't they talk about this isn't actually in the universe, so are we still going off of this happened?
Yeah, like, do you have...
However many years after Apocalypse? When did Apocalypse supposedly happen? And is that actually part of...
Apocalypse
was the
happened in the
generation,
80s.
wasn't it? Yeah, it was because it was McAvoy, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it happened in the 80s. So the timeline's all screwed up. We'll talk about the timeline at the
it's
end.
wibbly wobbly,
Yeah.
timey-wimey stuff.
Just how he got so bad so fast, it
Right.
feels like.
We don't know, basically. One of the theories is something similar to Days of Future Past might have happened, where the government found out about mutants, realized these are really a threat, and started the systematic elimination of mutants in American society. Because even from the opening first couple scenes on the radio, we hear about how there's, very few mutants left or they're all wiped out.
Yep.
Most society thinks they're a bygone thing that happened. And that's why one of the reasons Logan has Charles in hiding is because A, there are, very few left, and B,
he's the most powerful mutant with a brain disease.
Yeah.
Or how did the guy put it? He's got the most powerful brain with a brain disease or something like that.
yeah, he's basically a weapon of mass destruction.
Well, yeah, because at one point they say he's labeled a weapon of mass destruction by whoever has that power. I don't remember who it was.
He said the Homeland Security,
What was it?
but it was the anagram. He said HSA, so Homeland Security
that's what it
Agency,
was.
maybe, is what I thought.
Yeah, something like that.
So yeah, we have the Reavers who work for Alkali Technologies, I guess, was the name.
I don't think it was alcohol. Was it alkali?
Alkali, because it's named after the Weapon X location.
The facility, yeah.
The facility. Alkali Lake, basically.
Oh, yeah.
And the Reavers aren't as cool in the comics because, as we know, there was that tank leg guy who had tank treads for legs in the comic books. These guys mostly look like they have cybernetic arms.
Yeah.
And that one guy has a gun for a hand.
Yeah.
So that's kind of neat. But
And I don't remember seeing him, actually.
he's
I remember...
It's when Wolverine's on the ground because he's like holding his whole arm. Like,
okay.
It's just like a.
I guess I didn't.
Look like Mega Man or something.
I feel like I remember us talking about it or something.
Yeah.
But I don't...
They showed a quick clip in the trailer,
Yeah.
or you see a quick glimpse of him.
And they're looking for X-23, Laura, who's part of a program of kids. And actually, this is my biggest gripe with the movie. We find out that Alkali was building mutants as like a weapon force.
Yep.
And they were trying to train them to be child soldiers or something. And they were using DNA that they had pulled off of other mutants that they had captured and then eliminated to, basically replicate mutants in a military force or a strike force that they could use to, achieve nefarious methods, nefarious
Ends.
ends.
Which makes sense. I mean, because that's kind of how Wolverine was. He was in Stryker's team of misfits, I guess you'd call them.
So once again, we have a secret government agency cloning, or
You'd think they
doing
would have
cloning
learned
stuff
after
with
once
mutants.
or twice.
Yeah.
And ultimately, we get one that is a derivative of basically the last project that they're working on, which X-23, Laura, and the adamantium and stuff. And they rebuild Wolverine as the, not primary antagonist, but the weapon that they use against Logan in the second and third act of the movie.
They only call him X-24, don't they? They don't call him anything else.
Yeah, just X-24.
So, and why are they counting down? Like, why is Laura X-23 instead of X-25 since she comes after Wolverine?
They're counting up.
Yeah, because Wolverine was 10.
Weapon X.
Yeah,
He was
so
10.
you got the X. And then...
Well, so why is he X-24?
Because Laura was
he
23.
was
So he came
after
after
that.
Oh, the bad guy is 20.
guy's 24.
Yes.
I thought they were saying Logan was 24.
No.
like
well,
Wolverine.
I mean, kind of like
young Logan.
evil Logan.
And they did a good job with the CGI, de-aging him.
Yeah.
It was creepy.
I guess spoilers as we go along here, but Charles dies and he's killed somewhat in a unheroic way.
Did not like the way he was killed.
He went out.
He deserved better.
Yeah.
So this is one of the first moments where our expectations are flipped on their head, because I thought it was a dream sequence
Oh yeah.
So did I.
when it originally happened, because I was like, oh no, that's not Logan. Logan's out with the black guy.
Yep.
They come across a farm and they do a farm thing like Age of Ultron does. But this one, a little bit better. There's more action.
Yeah.
And he gets stabbed, and then weapon X-24 ends up killing all of this family. And you'd think, oh, they're not going to kill the family. They're going to be there, and then they're going to have to run again, maybe.
Yeah.
They're not going to all be murdered. Nope, they're all going to get murdered,
Everybody's getting murdered.
which is too bad.
They were nice folk.
And I thought, I don't know. I'm not crazy about X-24 being in the movie. I thought they could have had a better
antagonist.
Well, there was almost 3 different antagonists in this movie.
Yes.
You got the
guy from Narcos,
the main leader of the whatever you call
the
them.
Reavers. Yep.
Dean was his name, I think.
Yeah.
You got X-24.
Yep.
And then you have the doctor.
Yeah. The main doctor of.
When we get
like
towards the end of the movie, you'll have to explain to me where he goes.
Oh, he went bye-bye.
Did he get killed and I just missed it?
Yeah, because Wolverine picks up the revolver, and he earlier in the movie, he's like, I don't like guns.
Yeah.
And he didn't mind a gun that
He does shoot the doctor.
I guess shoots him right in the head.
Right in the head, and then he shoots the
throat. Was it throat or head?
It was in the above the shoulders, below the scalp. But then he shoots like the hand off of the bad Dean. I think his name is Dean, the robot arm guy.
So, anyways, back to whatever we were talking about.
Yes, we keep jumping.
That's all right.
We're spoiling like
we were talking
3-week-old milk.
X-24.
Yes, killing all the farmers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, we were talking about how Charles died.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
So
it's sad because he has that moment of realization of...
Because that's when he says, I did a horrible thing.
Yeah, he finally remembered why Logan had him...
Cooped away.
Yep. And, was suppressing his powers and stuff. So he wouldn't remember killing all of the people that he helped raise and, ouch.
Yeah,
that hurts.
It's heavy.
In the first trailer... I think the opening line for the theatrical trailer for Logan was, Logan, what have you done?
Charles saying that?
Charles is saying that to Logan because he says it in the movie. Because he doesn't know why Logan has him cooped away in the beginning of the film. So a lot of people were theorizing, oh my gosh, did Logan help hunt down his fellow mutants and stuff? As most theorizing before a movie comes out turns out to be kind of true.
Blind speculation.
Right.
Yeah.
This gets flipped on its head. No, it was Charles the whole time that killed everybody.
Yeah.
And Logan's trying to protect him because he's basically the only father figure he's ever known. And Charles has that sweet moment where he's like, Logan, this has been the happiest night of my life.
Yep.
After having dinner with this family and Logan's like, I'll put you to bed. He carries him up like a frail elderly person.
He had to do that a couple different times.
Yeah.
So.
And, carry him to bed. And
it's one of those, it's the part of those scenes where it's like, it's good that they show it rather than him just, all right, we're in bed all of a sudden. It's,
Although I did get a good laugh out of Wolverine having to help Professor X go to the bathroom. Yeah. That was also another funny part.
At first, with the angle, I thought we had switched to like a different scene where someone was getting it on.
So did I.
Because their feet were very close together.
When I first saw it.
You just see the drawers down.
Yeah. So anyways, I thought we were getting a rehash of X-Men 2 with Mystique going into the bathroom with that security guard.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, what's happening? Oh, no.
Or the...
expectations do not...
Take your pills.
Although another point where this was not your grandma's X-Men movie was when he was driving around the prom queens in the back of the... and no one flashes him.
Yes.
Yeah. Early on, at least they got it out of the way.
You're not going to see that in Avengers.
Yeah. Yeah.
You will in Deadpool, though, which kind of sets the tone of
we'll have to get
where
back,
they might be going with this.
Yeah, we'll have to go back to that, but or we can talk about it now. Fox is putting out my original gripe with Deadpool doing so good. I was like, oh, now companies are just going to want to do R-rated X-Men or R-rated superhero films, and they're going to take away from the story.
Yeah.
So far, I would say they're 2 for 2.
Yeah.
With the content of the movie fitting the R rating.
Yep.
They're not just going for R to go for R.
Right.
So kudos to you, Fox, I guess.
Doing just enough to get to the R and then be like,
let's not talk about your X-Men films because you keep making the same one over and over. But this actually felt like a good standalone movie.
Definitely.
Final act, we have... So X-23, basically, she needs to get taken to Canada because, as it harkens to real life, they accept refugees there.
Yeah.
Well, it was North Dakota first.
It was North Dakota.
And then they go through the pass in the mountain or something.
So they go through the pass to get to Canada, which is where Wolverine hails from.
Yes.
Basically.
Which I thought it was funny that it was going to be just them crossing the imaginary border.
Right. And then they were going to be fine.
Which our border with Canada is you walk through a field and all of a sudden you're in Canada.
Yep. Can happen.
Like that was all of a sudden going to stop them from chasing them. Yeah. If they made it to that line.
And then
exactly.
We find out that the place that they're going for is Eden. And the coordinates that Logan receives, he finds out is in an X-Men comic.
Now, was that a real comic or was that one of the ones made for this movie?
The comics that they have in the movie were all made for the movie.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if they would reference a real one.
So that's cool because actually Hugh Jackman requested Joe Quesada and a couple other X-Men writers and artists to do the books.
So it was real X-Men people that did the books. It's just not ones that have been released.
Right.
Okay.
Right. They were just made for the movie. So that was also a really cool thing. And actually it didn't bother me when we were talking about it in the trailer with our trailer review for Logan. Mm-hmm. I was like, this is going to really bug me. Why are there X-Men comics? And it totally fits because of what we find out later with the X-Men timeline and stuff. So,
do you think these comics will be released now?
No, I don't think
they
so.
won't start like an Eden timeline or something.
No, I mean they could, but
super deluxe DVD.
Ultimately,
edition.
they probably made a dozen panels. For close-ups and stuff. They probably didn't do like full issues or anything.
They had like a bunch of different covers and then probably just a couple pages on the inside of the one.
Yeah. So we find out that the coordinates, Laura's nurse found them in the comic and wrote them down. So retroactively, that makes this place they're going to not real. They're not going to Eden. The mission is basically futile, and Logan goes anyway with Charles. They know that there's no Eden, but Charles says to Logan, it's real for her.
Yep.
And then, actually, after you're processing the movie, after you see it, you're like, oh, yeah, so it's real to her. So does that mean it's a real place, even though it's not a real place in the real world?
Well, I'm wondering, was the cabin and stuff at that coordinates, or was it just in the vicinity? Like,
I think it was at those coordinates. It must have been at those coordinates.
Because that's where they ended, or at least where Laura ended up driving him.
Which, the whole way they get there is like, how does the car they're in? It's not even off of a road. It's like literally in the middle of like.
Well, it looks like she drove down a hill.
Yeah, and like got it maybe stuck in a little crevasse or something.
Like she almost drove off the road and crashed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm out of gas and I'm just coasting now.
And like, how far did she drive?
Yeah.
And how did she pay for gas?
Well, they were already kind of in that type of area when he falls asleep.
Yeah. I think the last time they reference a distance, it was something like 2 days drive or something.
Yeah.
And they don't really tell you after that, I think, if I recall.
And I've been to North Dakota. There's no part in North Dakota that looks like that mountainous.
I know.
Yeah.
It's kind of
like Northwest North Dakota is like all oil fields and stuff. It's pretty flat.
Yeah.
So anyways, maybe they're in Montana or Wyoming because the Rockies don't come that far east.
It's true, because it did look more like the Rockies, or at least the stretch of it.
So anyways, I don't know about that movie.
Could it have been in Oregon? Because when they're eating dinner with the family,
they talk about going to Oregon.
Yeah, because Logan says Oregon and Charles says North Dakota.
He says South Dakota.
He did say South Dakota. That's right.
Throw us off.
Yeah.
So,
but then,
and maybe that's why Logan said Oregon. It's just to throw them off further.
But I think they do go to North Dakota.
That's technically where the coordinates are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's right on the border, obviously.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But anyways.
So is Oregon. So
the border of North Dakota doesn't look like that, people.
I can see that terrain in Oregon more than North Dakota, though.
Very much. Very much so. We have a excellent final act where Logan decides to take some serum that makes him young Logan again.
Overdoses, yeah.
Yeah.
And lets him rip through the infantry that Alkali
that was cool.
Has set up. It's pretty badass.
So this entire story, and you see it earlier in when they're at the hotel in Oklahoma City. The movie that they're watching is Shane.
Yes.
So that's a 1953 Western where the story is very similar to this one. Basically, Shane would be Logan Shane was like a kind of a gun hand and went and helped this bunch of settlers in a valley from a evil cattle baron. So
many Westerns.
Yes, exactly. I was going to say, like, pretty much 80% of Westerns are something like that. But it's a good analogy to the entire film, because at the end, Shane gets shot, and the big difference being that when Shane is riding away, I think they show that final scene. That's the one that when Laura's in the wheelchair, she wheels up in front of the TV.
Yeah.
It's Shane riding away, and the kid is yelling, "Come back, Shane!" And so you don't know if Shane's dead or not because he's slumped over on his horse and it's riding away. So it leaves that, is he dead or not? And I was kind of hoping they were going to do something like that at the very end to kind of be like,
sure,
is he?
I think they did something better.
Yeah,
but
we'll get to that.
The scene that is in the hotel, Shane's telling the kid, once you kill someone, it changes you. It doesn't matter.
Oh, that's the speech
is that where
Laura
the quote comes
gives
from?
at the end?
Yeah, that's the that's the
yeah.
exact same quote that's happening. So
I forgot about that little eulogy that she gave.
So her eulogy is about that.
Yep.
It's actually word for word from Shane.
Okay.
Nice.
I knew I'd heard it somewhere.
Yeah, you heard it 45 minutes before. In the
which is funny because
Yeah.
when they kept showing that movie, I'm like, okay, this is going to be important somewhere. I need to remember this, and then I forgot about it anyways.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm here to remind you. So yeah, we have a final battle between X-24 and Wolverine. Well, Wolverine just gets his ass kicked, and
because he's basically coming down at that point in time.
He's basically just buying time for the kids to beat up everybody else.
Which they do pretty well, I guess. Not horribly, anyway.
Yeah, they help out.
At least with that last guy, they do their super mega combo attack.
Yeah.
Which I didn't get I guess while they were being chased, none of them were using their powers while they were being chased.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, why are you just running?
A couple kids did once they got caught.
Yeah, once they got, but like, I don't know.
So we don't know how
bugged me.
We don't know how powerful these mutants are. Basically, these new kids.
Well, and still they're kids. It doesn't really say what kind of training they had them going through. But I mean, obviously they knew enough to like have that fight or flight instinct, and it was flight as opposed to fight.
Yeah.
So they weren't like hardcore soldiers like how
I guess
not quite like how X-23 is or Laura.
Very great brutal fighting between Laura, X-23 helping out with that fight, and all the stabby stabs that take place.
I like her moves too. Like she definitely knows how to because I'm trying to think of what type of that is where it's like
she fights a lot like Black Widow.
Yes,
but she has adamantium healing powers.
We didn't even mention the blade that comes out of her foot.
Yeah.
I do like how Charles was talking about that, about how the female lions in a pride have the rear ones for
defense.
The front ones for hunting.
And X-23 does have those feet claws as well in the comic books.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So, that wasn't something that they added.
Just thought it was a wicked cool boot blade.
I did,
or something.
I wasn't expecting that.
That's adamantium from her foot, basically.
Nice. That's cool.
It's just like another pair of claws, so... we have the final fight between Logan and X-24. X-24 pays Logan back by impaling him on something because he gets impaled by a truck.
But which is actually driven by the guy...
The farmer.
The farmer.
Yep.
Yeah. And we never mentioned, before we get too close to the end, why is Logan's name, basically throughout the movie, James...
Howlett.
Because that's his real name. Yeah. That
so
was
where
his,
does Logan come
birth
from?
Name. And that was what I couldn't remember either. Because during the Weapon X program, he loses his memories.
Yes.
After that, I don't remember how he gets the name Logan, but I think it's from the girl that he gets Wolverine, isn't it? His love interest.
Yeah.
Sort of, or at least that's how the movies portrayed it.
Right.
But, yeah.
I don't remember where he got Logan from because his dog tags even say Logan.
Yeah.
Instead of Wolverine, like
That's,
they did.
That's why I couldn't remember exactly where it was.
So yeah, we'll talk about timeline after we finish up because it's all screwy.
Yeah, that's an
So-
understatement.
He's known, his persona of Wolverine, his other persona is Logan, even though his real name is James.
I think he had to ditch the other two to try to lay low under the radar
Okay.
because the name Logan, I mean, especially if the comic books always knew him as a Logan and codenamed Wolverine or mutant named Wolverine.
Yeah, you couldn't really have a
Okay.
movie called James.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked for Shane, but James could be anybody.
I'm James! Rick James.
Yeah, that could happen. So we have a timeline continuity thing happen where an adamantium bullet actually does kill Wolverine because they use an adamantium bullet to erase its memories.
That's
in
right, yeah.
X-Men
Yeah.
Origins. So what the hell? But I guess in James Mangold's universe, it can actually just kill Wolverine, and he had it on him throughout the movie
Well, and he said he'd had it on him
for a long time.
for a long time to remind himself of what he is or something
Right.
like that.
To remind him of what he is, but really it was in case he
Just-
got too depressed and he was
yeah.
gonna off himself.
I'm wondering if he got it from Stryker because that was
He
who
could have.
had
It
the
could have
first
been a
one.
nod to
Yeah.
Origins,
Yeah.
where
Let's-
he found the adamantium
That's a
bullet.
bad nod.
Yeah.
And speaking of Stryker, the doctor at one point says something about my dad.
Yep. That's
So is
not
his
Stryker's.
dad?
No.
His dad is not
No.
Stryker. Who is his dad? Anyone we've met in the?
Well, in Apocalypse, he goes to Alkali where they're holding. The X-Men go to Alkali. They find Wolverine in the X-23 Weapon X helmet and stuff, and they free him, and he kills all the scientists in the Weapon X program. His dad was probably one of those guys.
Oh, okay.
Those were just extras in the movie. They didn't have any like speaking lines, so who knows? But that's another thing with the timeline that we'll get to. So
Okay.
Logan dies from
Spoiler.
his wounds and not being able to heal anymore. And they give the nice eulogy. The young kids bugger off, and before they do, Laura turns the cross into an X because he's dying as an X-Men.
I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
It was a
I
really good
fucking
scene.
loved that ending.
Yeah.
It was good.
It's great,
Yep.
right?
And that's why I was kind of hoping with the Shane thing they were going to be like, is he dead?
Right.
But they pretty much sealed it that
Yeah.
one. Yeah. So
Poetic
It was
saying,
it's good to
awesome.
have some finality to it.
yeah,
Conclusion.
you're the
Closure.
the final X-Men finally has
Yep.
passed away. And as his last role, as his last time playing Wolverine,
I was just saying,
they
like
nailed
with
it.
Charles, like what I didn't like is that, like, so Charles gets slashed or
stabbed.
impaled, and he has a few words for Wolverine at the very
Yeah.
end, but then he like just puts him in the truck, and then it's like that's it. Like, all right, forget.
Well, they do bury him. They bury him by the water
That's right.
tower.
They do bury him by the water. Yep.
He's got water here.
Yep.
Yeah, and
And
that's
he
all.
breaks
Getting all
down.
choked up. That's
Oh.
right. I forgot about that.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So we didn't talk about it. He basically tells did we talk about this already? He unburdens himself to Logan, and it's not Logan.
Yes, we did
Yes,
talk
that's
about
right.
that.
Because
we
that's
talk
when
about-
he's like, "I did this a horrible thing."
Right. Did we talk about on the show his adamantium's killing him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we did that one pretty early.
Jeez,
on.
John.
I know.
You're our leader, and you can't even remember what we talked about 20 minutes ago.
I'm getting all turned around.
Yeah, you were jumping on me about not remembering the Shane reference 45 minutes through the movie.
Yeah.
Especially in the middle of a movie, you're so like engrossed in it. You're just like, "What's next? What's next?" It's, like, it's tough to remember what happened back then.
Let's jump on the timeline because James Mangold says this movie does not take place in the X-Men film universe. It's a separate film that has nods to the previous X-Men films, like when Charles says they're waiting for you at the Statue of Liberty, and Logan says that was a long time ago.
Yep.
That's X-Men 1.
Okay.
Which ended up being the Statue of Liberty
Right.
on the sign at the hotel that he
Yes.
first goes to.
Yes.
I don't know if you noticed that part.
I did not notice that. Is that
It
one
was
of the
called
Easter
this-
eggs?
when
yeah.
the-
So it was one of the
Yep,
Statue of Liberty.
yep.
So when he's talking about the comic books, he's like, probably a quarter of this happened and not like this. That could also be a nod to
how different these comics are from the movies.
That or
movies from the comics.
How different whatever has taken place since X-Men 1 in this universe.
Oh, okay.
Compared to what they say happened in the comic books.
That makes sense.
Because we don't know if the events of X-Men 2 took place, X-Men 3 took place. They never say. Because one thing is, in Wolverine, he gets his claws cut off.
Yes. Yep.
He has claws in this movie.
But that was pre-Days of Future Past, so...
It was pre-Days of Future Past, but in Days of Future Past, he has metal claws in the future.
True. Very true.
So yeah, the timeline's all screwy. But for Easter eggs, that's one of the things. The Easter eggs, Logan has a katana hanging up in his house.
Yeah.
Which is something he gets in the Wolverine.
Exactly.
Supposedly the Wolverine got wiped out by Days of Future Past.
That's what I thought. Only because Days of Future Past came after the Wolverine. So, who knows?
Right. It's all screwy, like I said. So timeline-wise, how screwed up it is.
Yeah. Still that you have to try to figure this out.
Right.
Yeah.
So he comes back from Days of Future Past in 2023.
23. And this is 2029.
This is 2029. So 6 years, all of the mutants are wiped out. And they say in the movie...
But they say only 7 were wiped out.
Only 7 were killed, yeah. But they don't...
600 were injured, 7 mutants were killed.
Yeah.
And...
so that means all those kids should still be running around somewhere.
They could be. Or in those 6 years, the government has hunted them down and killed them all.
That's true, yeah.
But we also know that if Charles focuses on somebody, he can basically kill them. So maybe he was thinking more of the 7 main X-Men that were in the mansion at the time, and some of the 600 others were children in the mansion. I don't know. Yeah.
So it's confusing, because if there are still kids in the mansion, were they born 20 years? Because it would have been 20 years before. Because it's been 25 years since a mutant's been born.
29, so that would be 2004.
So that would be 2004, so these kids would be 20.
So they would have been
20
19.
years, in which case that 5 would... Okay,
right.
Yep.
So that's why it probably doesn't take place in those universes.
But yeah, considering that none of the other films really gave a shit about the continuity, it seems only fair that Logan shouldn't have to either.
Right, right.
And that's just annoying. Like
it gets there, yeah.
So I was thinking about this before we started the episode. It's annoying, but also refreshing, because you don't have to see all of the other movies to get everything out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, to really enjoy each movie to the full extent, you need to see all of the previous movies. Mm-hmm. You can't watch Avengers without seeing the Iron Man movies, or Captain America, or Thor. So
I've never seen a Thor movie. I haven't seen Iron Man 3.
You would have gotten more out of...
I haven't seen Iron Man 2. I've seen parts of all of them.
Right. Because they're, on Spike or whatever. So
yeah. I did like how, was it Spike was playing all the previous X-Men movies, like these last week or two?
But really...
FX maybe?
FX?
One of those, one of those stations
FX,
was, yeah.
Because FX is close.
No, it actually was Spike.
Was it Spike?
Yeah.
Could have been, yeah. I don't know if they're a Fox affiliate or...
I didn't send it to you because I thought you'd be sleeping, but I sent it to Kyle. I just happened to flip to Spike right at the scene where they blow up the helicopter and Origins as he's walking away.
That slow motion hero,
so awesome.
Don't look back.
I think Spike's owned by Disney because they always have Star Wars on. They show a lot of Star Wars.
They do play a lot of Star Wars.
But they also play a lot of Lord of the Rings too.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Jack of all trades.
Yeah. They get around.
But yeah, so I actually was able to watch like half of Days of Future Past.
Oh, okay. What'd you think?
I caught about... I really liked it, actually.
It's I think it's one of the highest rated X-Men movies. I think it's a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, nice.
So, which, I mean, again, it's good. It's not like...
It could have been better.
It's not like...
Don't ask me right now how it could have been
top 5 superhero movies, that's not in it.
Yeah, no, not really.
So I don't know.
What are your top 5
for superhero movies? Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Dark Knight.
Deadpool's got to be in there somewhere.
Yeah.
We're talking just movies or any like work of.
Well, it'd be just movies to make it fair.
Yeah.
Because you say it's not in your top 5. I thought you would have had a top 5 ready to go.
Yeah, no.
It's always just locked right there, waiting for somebody to ask.
Yeah. See, with
the official podcast of people asking for your top 5 movies, mutant
when
movies.
you don't actually have one ready.
People like me have a top 100 films list that is never the same.
That you can only remember 5 of.
You can only do it once, and
Yeah.
then the next time it's 100 different movies, or 98 different movies.
Yep.
They're all, like, my top 100 is all number 1. Like, it's just 100 movies that are my favorite movie of all time. So, like, Dark Knight's in there. The first Avengers, I'm even a fan of the second Avengers. Not many people are, because it's basically the same one. But if the first one didn't happen, the second one's still as enjoyable as the first one. They actually get going faster because they don't have to build the team.
That's true.
That's my argument.
What
into the
happens
action.
in the first one? It's been a long time since I've seen it.
Loki comes and steals the cube,
Oh, yeah.
and they build a portal to the other side, and
Possesses Hawkeye.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
because that's Hawkeye.
That was, it all happened right in the beginning.
Now I remember it.
I like The Incredible Hulk, not the Ang Lee one, but the Paramount one with Ed Norton.
Oh, okay.
Even though it's not great, it's still
After seeing Ruffalo as Hulk, I don't really
Right.
like Ed Norton as the
couldn't
Hulk.
go back.
And Eric Bana was just like, that was kind of an offshoot, it seemed.
And then probably Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, beautiful movie.
Good stuff. Looking forward to the second one.
That trailer was one of the trailers before.
Yeah.
There was quite a few good trailers before this,
There
actually.
were quite a few trailers.
There
The showing I went to, I think there was 9.
There was quite a few.
I didn't count, but it had to
Jeez.
be up there. I saw something about a movie called Life coming out
Yep.
with
That looked pretty good.
Ryan
Ryan
Reynolds and
Reynolds.
Jake
Ryan
Gyllenhaal.
Reynolds and fighting an alien.
And he's a Japanese.
Alien, yeah.
He's a
And Alien was in there.
he's a Japanese actor, and I can never remember the name.
I know, he's been in so many things.
And one of the we're gonna start doing a new show format in the upcoming weeks here, where we talk about stuff we love and why we love it, and then the other 2 people will basically
on
answer
it.
questions, or challenge them about.
So I'm actually going to have to do research before I come to
Yeah.
this?
Oh,
It's-
man, you're killing me.
We're getting real serious up in here.
I guess.
Taking that next step, man. We need a few more viewers.
So yeah, one of the topics I might talk about is the movie Sunshine by Danny Boyle,
Good movie.
because he's in that. He's the captain.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
And again, he's a captain.
I only remember the guy from 28 Days Later. I
Yeah.
can't remember his name, obviously.
Cillian Murphy.
Is that what it is?
Cillian Murphy.
Something different. Yeah, it's weird.
Cillian Murphy.
Killian. I think it is Killian.
Cillian Murphy, who plays Scarecrow in the Batman Begins,
That's true.
and he's in Dark Knight.
Oh.
Good tangent. I love it.
Yeah, many
And-
people don't realize he's in Dark Knight.
And then one of the other movies, I guess we're just going to go off on trailer talk here.
Yeah,
It had Emma Watson and the guy from Boyhood, the kid who plays the main boy in Boyhood.
yeah,
And
that wasn't a trailer we saw, but it's about the company that she works at,
Yeah,
Yeah.
The Circle.
The Circle.
And it's got Tom Hanks.
Yep, it's some weird
And
social media thing.
basically, yeah, they like start following her with cameras and track her whole life.
Right. There's a episode
Truman Show remake or something.
well, there's a episode
Not
of
exactly
Black
like
Mirror.
they're spying on. Like there's cameras everywhere, so she can't ever do anything without being on camera.
There's a. Do you guys watch Black Mirror on Netflix?
No.
It's pretty good. It's like 21st century Twilight Zone, basically.
Oh, nice.
And there's an episode with, and I can't remember her name right now.
What was it called? Blackbriar?
Black Mirror.
Black Mirror.
It's been on since 2011, but it's one of those shows that like it's British, so like a season can take like 2 years to come out. Nothing wrong with that, Black Mirror. Nothing wrong with that. God dang it. Like the first season only had 4 episodes or 3 episodes, I think.
It's not a Netflix exclusive, or
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Bryce Dallas Howard. I always get her and Jessica Chastain mixed up.
Neither name sounds familiar.
Bryce Dallas Howard, when you see what she's been in, you'll understand. She was in Jurassic World. She's the
Main lady?
main lady.
Okay.
She's also been in Pete's Dragon.
She's English?
Yeah.
Oh.
She was in the Twilight movies. Lady in the Water. She was the Lady in the Water. And she was in The Village.
Yeah.
And you always get her confused with Jessica Chastain, who was in Zero Dark 30. Same redhead,
okay.
same body type, almost the same face. So anyways,
how did you get on her?
way off.
Yeah.
There's an episode of Black Mirror that looks like The Circle, or The Circle looks like this episode, where in the future, your social media presence is how society functions. So like you're looking at becoming a 5. So you like people's photos, and if they like your photos, the more likes you get, the higher your rating goes. But it goes even farther where like you can't purchase certain products without a high enough rating because a company doesn't want to be associated with someone who has a low rating.
Wow.
So this girl is trying to get a new job, like a job promotion, and they're like, well, we need you at like a 4.1 and you're at a 3.8 right now. So they like a financial planner with how you're gonna get to a 4.1. Like being invited to your friend's wedding is gonna be like a big boost, and it's actually played by the girl from She's Out of My League.
Oh, I don't know her name, but I
can't remember her name either.
Eve.
Alice Eve.
Alice Eve. Yep.
And yeah, the episode's called Nosedive. So
that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it's a really.
Do you have to watch the show up to that point to get it, or
every episode
is different?
New story.
Oh, that sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's nice.
there's this episode with.
Oh, but since we're on the topic of The Circle,
Everything's connected.
Just talking about The Circle, and you mentioned Force Awakens. The guy from Force Awakens is also in The Circle.
Yeah.
What's his name?
The black guy.
I wasn't gonna say it. You can be the one to say it.
No, it sounded like you were pumping the brakes. the black guy.
Finn from The Force Awakens.
What's his name?
I can't think of the actor's name
though. John Boyega.
Yeah, that's it.
Anyways, when I first started watching Black Mirror, it was because I saw reviews from Weekly Planet on it, and they're like, it's really good. Some episodes are not so good, but some episodes are really great. So I watched a couple episodes, and there's this one. Yeah, don't worry about it. There's this one where I was like, oh my gosh, this show is really great. I'm gonna have to tell Laura about it. And then the next episode was about they all are kind of sci-fi, so you can replay memories in this one episode, and this guy becomes obsessed with figuring out if his wife's having an affair, so he keeps going back to conversations that she had, like replaying them in his mind, and he becomes more and more obsessed, and it gets really dark. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm not gonna tell Laura to watch this because this is really depressing.
Oh.
But yeah, some episodes are really, really cool, and most of them end up in a Twilight Zone type of way where it's like, oh, yeah, that's bad.
Is there any continuity between the episodes?
No.
Okay.
No, they're all standalone.
Are the characters, like actors, even the same?
No. Which is really cool because like they have big name actors like Domhnall Gleeson, and his wife in the episode he's in is Agent Carter from the Agent Carter TV show. I can't think of the actress's name, but she's also in Captain America.
Yes, I can think of the lady. I just can't think of the name.
Yeah. Logan.
Yes.
We're giving it a yeah?
Yeah, we
got 3 yeahs.
We got way
the
off
board.
the tracks there at the end.
It's a hell yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet. Yeah. We won't do Nerd Out because we all nerded out on Logan this week.
Yep.
Next week, we don't know if we'll be back because
I will be on vacation.
Jordan will be on vacation.
I will for sure not be.
Kyle and I might record something. We don't know yet. So, before we sound like nerds, I'm John.
I'm Jordan.
And this is Kyle. Nerd Out.